To reconvene in open session at 7 p.m. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leclerc. Dr. McGee, roll call.
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Kapiskis,
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc,
Yes.
Mrs. Costa is absent this evening.
Next, I'll make a motion to seal the closed session minutes of January 10th, 2024. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leclerc. Dr. McGee, please.
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Kapiskis,
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
And there was no vote taken in closed session this evening. Will you please stand and join me for the moment of silence and the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to welcome the folks and the students and the teachers, principal from Vernon Heights Elementary School. I guess you have a presentation for us this evening. Take it away. Mr. DeRozier, please.
Good evening, everyone. The first piece of the presentation tonight is going to be about our bullying, the things that we've been doing at Vernon Heights to have an anti-bullying campaign. Some of the things I passed out, some handouts with some examples of things that we've been doing. On the front cover, my social workers run a kindness tree and a monthly kindness awards. It's we just had it last week in assembly. The kids get a munchkin and it's really fun. They get a little time with the adults and they get to be together. The social workers are also working on lunch bunches, which is really amazing. I've sat in some of the lunches, and some of the things they talk about is just funny and sometimes it's sad, but overall it's amazing. As of today, well, as of January 4th, I looked at my book. I don't have any incidents of bullying recorded at my building. If you look into the folder I gave you back on, let's see, I think it was the last page, where it says, is it bullying? It's the third to last page. I use this daily. I use it with students. I use it with parents to not to deter, but to educate the differences between just being not nice, being mean, or being bullied. And a lot of times I'll come right out and say, where do you fall? And say, it's only been one time. So I said, where do you put it? And he said, I think that kid was just being mean to me. Okay, how would it be bullying? Well, if it was multiple times over days and weeks and it kept going on. So I've used this as well with parents, because they'll come right in, they'll say, my child's being bullied. And I'll be like, okay, let's see where we fall onto this. And they won't say, they don't know the whole extent of it, but I try to educate them as well on this. But this is a powerful tool that I use. Let's see, and then also we've used our bulletin boards, and a lot of our boards are designed for not anti-bullying and kindness. I've taken pictures, you could just see them.
Yeah.
It's a really warm school. If you've come to my building, when you walk in, you really feel the sense of community, the sense of like we own our building. It's our building, and we're proud of our building. So that is an impressive part, and all my teachers and the children, the students have done an amazing job. We've spent so much time on the social emotional learning over the last 3 or 4 years that we're really seeing it come together. So we're going to continue our mission on this. We know the detriments to being bullied. It can't be fun. So as long as we can keep educating them, we'll keep doing that. Let's see. And tonight's, the next piece of this tonight will be the students presenting holiday, different cultures. It's a nice way to have our students learning the different cultures and values of different families, different cultures, and so we can, you're gonna see it's really top notch. I told them that 3 years in a row, we were #1, and tonight's no different. So we got this.
Good for you,
And they
Mr.
said
DeRosa.
and they said they're not even nervous. I said, I am.
Ah,
And then this goes back quite a ways. This goes back a long time from an old friend of ours, George Nasuti. We still use give respect, get respect. We use it a lot, and that's going to probably live on forever. So we are proud to continue that, and we still have George's picture posted around our building. So that's that. That's my bullying report. If you wouldn't mind coming down if you could, and then we'll drop the slide.
okay.
I brought some teachers with me today. I have Ashley Paley with me, Deb Steers, Ann Ferrenti, Stephanie Tatikos. Kristen Latelia wasn't able to make it, but I believe she is online listening. These are my 5th grade team, and they're the ones who are going to do the presentation tonight. So they came together. Oh, I'm sorry. We have Kim Rudder, and we also have Kim Pierce, because we were able to bring in different contents, the art and music into this as well. Ian Rawlinson? Ian Rawlinson. Okay, did I miss anybody? And thank you, parents, for being here. Ms. Ash is going to come up.
Hello. All 3 5th grade classes collaborated with the innovation specialist to plan, design, and launch this unit of study. Students worked in teams to research and create these books. The students here today are Callie, Alec, Derek, Annabelle, Christabel, Joseph, Owen, Elias, Christian, Janelle, and Aliana. Derek is going to tell us what they learned, why they learned it, and how they demonstrated their learning. No, come on up, honey. Come on up, honey. So that way everyone can hear you, sweetheart. Okay?
What? We are learning about different cultures' unique winter celebrations. Why? We are learning about our global community so that we can be well-informed global citizens. We will create a storybook with images explaining a unique holiday as a team. We will present this to an audience.
Students discussed as a team what competencies for success they'd work on with this project. Students were able to justify all 6 competencies. So Callie's going to come up and talk about why it's important for us to learn about different cultures.
We had a lot of reasons why it is important to learn about different cultures, but these 2 stood out. To learn how and why people celebrate other cultures, and to help us work with our global community.
So Christabel and Joseph are going to come up and read their story.
Kwanzaa by Christabel and Joseph.
What is Kwanzaa? Kwanzaa is an African American holiday that means first fruits. Kwanzaa is a winter holiday.
How long is Kwanzaa? Kwanzaa starts on December 26th and ends on January 1st every year. Each day represents a special meaning. For example, on day 1, the special word is umoja, which means unity, which means family, friends, and community.
Where is Kwanzaa celebrated? Kwanzaa is celebrated in Africa and was made by a man named... I can't pronounce that.
That's okay.
Important symbols of Kwanzaa. One important symbol of Kwanzaa is the unity cup, which everyone drinks out of.
Traditions of Kwanzaa. On Kwanzaa, a person lights each candle for each day. The person who goes first is the one who talks.
Foods for Kwanzaa. People eat special foods during Kwanzaa, like peanut soup, shrimp gumbo, with desserts like fried banana and sweet potato pie.
Music for Kwanzaa. People play African music and dance to it. Sometimes they put on a show with people dancing.
Games during Kwanzaa. One game that they play during Kwanzaa is called Mancala. It's a game where people play with rocks and pebbles.
Question. If you were celebrating Kwanzaa, what day of Kwanzaa would be your favorite?
Thanks, guys. Additionally, students made books for students with visual impairments. Derek and Callie will talk about CVI.
CVI is a visual impairment. It is a disorder caused by visual damage to the brain.
Why we made CVI books. We made books for high schoolers with CVI. The books needed black backgrounds with red or yellow boxes. We will read these books to the high schoolers. They needed to have simple sentences with 1 or 2 images.
Annabelle and Alec will come up and read their CVI book.
Donkey is celebrating loss without us at a party.
Donkey is celebrating Las Posadas because his family does.
Donkey is putting on his clothes.
Donkey arrives at the party during December 16 to December 24 at 3 p.m.
Donkey is having a blast. Donkey is breaking a piñata as a tradition.
Donkey meets his friends so they can go caroling.
Donkey is done caroling with his human friends and animal friends.
Donkey is eating tamales. Yum.
Donkey is having a blast.
Donkey is going home.
Donkey can't wait till next year.
Students in room 21 read their stories and their CVI books to all 3 kindergarten classes. And before we invite you to take a look at our Padlet to see all of their storybooks, we did want to mention that we were able to integrate the itinerants into this project. They learned Hanukkah songs and music, African drumming in gym class. They researched during library, and they also created a Chinese dragon and Chinese lanterns for Chinese New Year in art. And then we're going to have a quick presentation with the Chinese dragon.
Thank you for having us tonight. I hope you enjoyed that. I wish the kids that would have been a little bit louder, but they're a little shy, get it? But they did an awesome job. Awesome job. And thanks for having us all. Thank you.
It's amazing. It's a great
She jumps out.
surprise. I made it.
Surprise, I got a ride.
I mean, I liked it, but how do I make it go away?
Ding diddling diddling.
I'll figure out my
Another
way
weather
back.
service alert.
I want to take this opportunity to thank you all from Vernon Heights. What a great set of presentations. Thank you again. Well done. Now we'll go into public good and welfare. For anyone addressing the school committee during good and welfare, please begin with your name and address. Your comments shall be, oh, wait.
Wait. Let them clear out. Yeah.
Oh, no, we'll wait.
Please out the room. Like usual.
As usual.
Wait for me.
It's a good presentation.
Yeah, that was great. Add that can mix in the mic. It's gonna be everybody, huh?
Okay, let's try this again. We'll go into good and welfare. So for anyone addressing the school committee during good and welfare, please begin with your name and address. Your comments shall be no more than 5 minutes of speaking time and should be in good decorum. Please be aware that the committee cannot respond to you during good and welfare, but may direct you to an appropriate member of the administration team or may meet with you directly after the meeting for further discussion. Is there anyone who would like to address the school committee this evening?
Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa Bubble. I am at 650 3rd Avenue in Woonsocket. I know that these are usually posted on YouTube for all to hear, for those who cannot attend. I noticed that there was a Wi-Fi issue at the last meeting, so I wanted to reiterate what I discussed and what my son had discussed at the last meeting. I do know that at the last meeting, you did say that you wanted to hear from the community, and I very much appreciate it before any decision was made for the 3 schools, the Vernon, Coleman, and I honestly forget the 3rd school, so my apologies, that would be moved over to Berryfield. I am going to read my son's comments as he could not be here tonight because he was a little tired and he said, "Mommy, I have school tomorrow." He says, "My name is Cody Hitu. He also lives with me, 650 3rd Avenue. We already have so many abandoned buildings in the city. Why should we add to the list of empty buildings when we can just repair them? And now for the second time, please don't get rid of my school." And then I have some comments from other parents who could not be here tonight. A couple of them are lengthy, so I will actually start with the one that I didn't read last time. This is from Melissa Berard. And she says, I just want to send in my advocacy towards neighborhood schooling versus the campus. The children, both past burn-in students and current ones, the parents in our community would be devastated to be incorporated into one big unit. They need their own community identity. I propose building an annex school that could take on one of the existing elementary schools' population, only during which time each individual school would get their much-needed facelift. There is no reason that these buildings cannot be rehabilitated instead of tearing down old to build a giant new. The annex school could then be used as an overflow school, another annex for pre-K, or maybe a replacement for one elementary school, but not a combined 3 on one campus. In Cumberland, they are using this model and putting one elementary school into the high school transitional building while redoing the necessary facelifts on the current school buildings. They are currently on the second elementary school remodel, and I think this would be a more logical step for our city, and urge you to please look into a modification that is not, quote unquote, the campus. Thank you, parent and current Burn-In PTO board member. I believe I have room for the second one. Please stop me if I go over. My name is Melissa Murphy Gardner. My family and I bought a home in Woonsocket, minutes away from Burn-In Heights, back in 2017. One of the biggest selling points was how close we are to the school, and had heard many good things from friends and families who raised children who went to Burn-In. Since the moment my children was enrolled, I have been an active participant in the parent-teacher organization, which I am now the co-chair of. And I have seen firsthand how important our small school is to each and every student who attends there. We have given back to the community with food and clothing drives, and we have been able to provide students with dances and other fun events that we would have never been able to properly fund if the school had 2 times or 3 times as many children attending. This does not even begin to describe the overwhelming amount of issues posed by moving the school out of the community, miles away from the homes of the families who walk to school with their children every day. Some of these parents also bring younger siblings outside in the cold weather to be able to get their older children to school on time. I urge you to consider the devastating effects that will undoubtedly be caused by this merge, and instead use the same funding to improve and expand on the schools that are already in the neighborhoods of the communities they serve. And thank you for your time. Now, with that said, I also feel the same as these 2 women. I know that I have very limited time to say my piece for Coleman, but my son has gone to Coleman, I have gone to Coleman, and I have also just seen Burn-In Heights, their amazing performance and everything that they've been doing there. And they even stated that they love how warm and how connected they are at that school. I feel that we would honestly lose that feel if we merge all 3 elementary schools. And I honestly wish my 9-year-old son would have been able to speak again tonight as he did in December, because I am very proud of him. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the school committee? Hearing, seeing none, we'll go into recognitions and announcements. Dr. McGee?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the school committee. I want to start my recognitions and announcements by recognizing the amazing Burn-In Heights Elementary School students who were here this evening. We're so proud of all the hard work that they obviously and clearly put into tonight's presentation. I also want to thank the teachers and staff at Burn-In Heights who work very hard with their students, as was evidenced this evening with the presentation. I also want to thank Mr. DeRozier as the principal of Vernon Heights Elementary School. It was wonderful to see students taking an assignment and making it into an interdisciplinary assignment, which means it's not just an English assignment, but it combines a variety of subjects. This evening we saw that it combined music, art, reading, writing, presenting to an audience. So I want to thank them for a wonderful job this evening. The Valley Breeze and Observer newspapers recently honored a male and female student athlete from each of the circulation's 15 high schools in Rhode Island for their all-around excellence in athletics and academics in the fall all-scholastic sports section. These student athletes are not only brilliant on the field, but also in the classroom. 2 student athletes from Woonsocket High School who were recognized this year were Woonsocket High School senior Michael Cinquitani, who is a football player at Woonsocket High School, and Woonsocket High School junior Farah Boisvert, who is on the girls' tennis team. Michael, one of the best linebackers in Northern Rhode Island, became a first-team all-division selection as he led the Novans in tackles for a second year in a row through 9 games. He amassed 125 tackles, including 12 for a loss of yardage. The hard-hitting Michael Cinquitani also shined on the other side of the ball as a fullback and carried the ball 19 times for 101 yards and 3 touchdowns. And on special teams, he turned in one of the biggest plays of the season in the Division II Novans 2-0 victory over Division I Central High School. He is a consistent presence on the school's honor roll, who returned to the Rhode Island Interscholastic League's all-academic team this year. Michael is also a standout third baseman on the Villanovans baseball team. So I want to congratulate Michael Cinquitani for being named to that publication. Farah is a second-year player who joined the Villanovans tennis program last year. With little experience in the sport, Farah became the Novans' first singles player this season and posted double digits in victories to help her team reach the Division III quarterfinals. Farah, who won some big matches down the stretch, became a 2-time All-Division player. But last season, she did so in doubles in helping lead the Villanovans to an 11-5 record and the D3 semifinals. In the classroom, Farah is among the top of her class and has earned highest honors in all 9 of her quarters thus far at Woonsocket High School. So congratulations to those 2 amazing student athletes from Woonsocket High School. Finally, over the years, the Woonsocket Education Department, students and their families have been very fortunate to receive generous donations of winter accessories and food vouchers from the Woonsocket Elks Lodge, number 850. Most recently, the Elks donated 321 winter coats to our elementary families. In addition, the Elks supplied the district with approximately $5,000 in food vouchers to ensure that our students and their families never go hungry during unprecedented times. We've worked with many organizations over the years, but I do have to say that the Elks Lodge number 850 of Woonsocket is such an energetic, supportive, and well-organized group of people. I'd like to specifically thank the Elks and Mr. Leo Turgeon for their continued support and generosity shown not only to our children, but to the families here in Woonsocket. So again, thank you to the Elks and thank you to Leo Turgeon. And that, Mr. Chairman, concludes my recognitions and announcements.
Thank you, Dr. McGee. Any comments, questions for Dr. McGee?
Good.
Then I'll make a motion to receive and place on file the recognitions and announcements. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leclerc. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Next, we'll go to the approval of minutes, and I'll make a motion to approve the December 20th, 2023 closed meeting minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Burke. Dr. McGee, roll call.
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus,
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Next, I'll make a motion to approve the December 20th, 2023 open meeting minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leclerc. Any changes to those minutes? Dr. McGee?
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus,
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Next, I'll make a motion to discuss and approve the consent agenda. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Burke. Does anyone want to take any item out for discussion?
Nope.
Dr. McGee?
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke.
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus.
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
I believe we have no report from our student representative tonight, but did you have a good holidays, Matthew?
Yes, I did. Thank you for asking. I hope you did too.
Yep. Are you glad to be back in school?
Yes, I am.
Really? Good. Outstanding.
He doesn't have a report, no?
No. No, okay, they were on vacation. Next, I'll ask you, Dr. McGee, for your superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the committee has the list of new hires that we have been working on over the last couple of weeks. You'll notice we have a school social worker, full-time music teacher, social studies teacher at Hamlet Middle School, an English ESL teacher at Woonsocket High School, and a physical education teacher at Hamlet Middle School. District continues to make every effort to fill vacant positions. We are still short 2 custodians, 2 administrators, 13 teachers, and 16 paraprofessionals. And with that, Mr. Chairman, that concludes my superintendent's report.
Any questions or comments for Dr. McGee? Then I'll make a motion to receive and place on file the superintendent's report. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leclerc. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next, we'll go into the subcommittee reports, and I'll ask Mrs. Kepiscus to give us the CLAC update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Woonsocket CLAC met remotely on Thursday, January 4th at 6 p.m. Under old business, I made my usual plea for somebody to please succeed me as CLAC chair with my support and assistance all the way. Under new business, Ms. Morell reported back to us on RICAS and DLM scores for students with IEPs or on alternate assessment. The overview look as a district is not great, but looking at the schools more individually without naming names, where there was improvement shown by schools as follows in the 21-22 year as compared to the 2021 year. One elementary school did better than 2 times the state average in ELA. One elementary school did better than the state average in ELA. 4 elementary schools made progress in ELA. 2 elementary schools made progress in math. 2 middle schools made progress in the ELA. And 1 middle school made progress in math. Some schools, however, suffered significant decreases and dragged the entire district down as a whole. She's hopeful that the new ELA program for students at the elementary school and middle school levels will help. Staff at the elementary schools and middle schools, resource teachers have been trained in UFly for reading and decoding and Touch Math for math. 20 teachers also took advantage of the PD offered in the Wilson reading program. With regard to the DLM, which is the alternate assessment statewide testing, intensive PD offerings for staff, along with much hard work from Kelly Gerard and Maria Galato, staff and students have realized improvements as a whole across the district. As a whole, 51 students were given the alternate assessment DLM testing. The results were telling. 13.7% proficiency in ELA in the district, an increase over the prior year. 13.7% efficiency in math, an increase over the prior year. 14.3 proficient in science, an increase over the prior year of 21 students tested. At the high school level, where proficiency levels did not increase, partially proficient levels did increase significantly. Elementary schools saw increases in proficiency as well as decreases in the not proficient levels. Middle schools saw small increases in proficiency in ELA and math, but a small decrease in science. And talking casually after Ms. Morell reported back to us, we all agreed that a gap test is needed for students who do not need the alternate assessment evaluation but cannot successfully be evaluated using the RICAS for the so-called gray area students. And all of us agreed, Ms. Morell, Dr. Holt, myself, as a member of the RICIAC, we've been fighting for a gap test dating back to, if you remember, Commissioner of Education, Deborah Gist. And we've made no progress thus far. And it's really unfortunate. A report from the superintendent, Dr. McGee, reported to us that the school accountability results, the star ratings are out, but at that time were currently embargoed. Principals and directors would have access to them starting on Monday, January 8th. Contract negotiations, now available online on RIDE's website. Contract negotiations will be underway with all 3 unions, teachers, paras, and 1137 by February, with proposals exchanged upon return from February vacation. He hopes to have at least tentative contracts in place by the time school ends in June. In a report from special education, Ms. Morell reported that in February and March, the WED will have its school support system review, with interviews occurring in the schools between March 18th and March 21st. The IEP facilitator training program will occur on January 25th and January 26th. And the WED has been selected to send 5 staff to training. They will include the special ed director, the assistant director, and the chairs of each educational level for special education. As school committee liaison, I reported back that we'd have a school committee meeting tonight at 7 p.m., and here we are. The next policy subcommittee meeting is on January 16th, 4 p.m., Hamlet, room 124. Next curriculum subcommittee meeting is on January 30th, 3 p.m., now 3:30 p.m. at Hamlet in room 24. The next meeting of CELAC will be remotely on February 1st, 2024 at 6 p.m. And I included a link in the notes that I sent out to all the members of the CELAC. That concludes my CELAC report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mrs. Kepiscus. Any questions, comments for her? Then I'll make a motion to receive and place on file the CELAC update. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leclerc. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Next, I'll ask Mr. Notoriani to give us his technology and facilities update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the memo this evening, as of today, we have 97 work orders in the system for technology, and they're working as quickly as possible to resolve those issues. We do have 1 vacancy as of last week in the tech department. The data staff is currently preparing for the March 1st snapshot report, which is the second and final component of the state funding formula. Once that's complete, the state will base the funding for next school year on the numbers that we produce according to the funding formula. In addition to that, the data staff are currently working on the civil rights data collection. And I'd like to thank Ms. Kitchen and Dr. Holt, because some of the data for this report comes directly from their departments, and also Mrs. Morell and Mrs. Gerard. Student registration, there's nothing to report at this time. It's a pretty slow period of time right now. As of today, for facilities, custodial services, we have 198 work orders in the system. They too are working as fast as they can, along with, as you witnessed this week, some horrible weather that they need to address, along with vacancies. They are currently working on the distribution of furniture at the high school. So most of the furniture came in over the holiday season, and they've been pushing it out into the classrooms outside of school hours. They are wrapping up final touches on the science lab renovations B1 through B7. They are doing the installation of new whiteboards at the high school. They're finishing that up. Auditorium renovation, I apologize, that should not be on here, along with the HVAC repairs. There is definitely an error with my report here this evening. Some of these items are on the punch list, which are the lighting upgrades for the high school and the HVAC repairs at this school and next door. I believe all the lights, knock on wood, and the heat should be working with exception of the punch list. Back to the list up above, the high school renovations do include the upcoming work for the high school gymnasium and the locker rooms. We also have renovations at Harris School in terms of the library media center, gymnasium, cafeteria. Pothier School renovations in the library media center, gymnasium, and cafeteria. And this evening they started the window treatments at the high school, which is similar to what we did here at the 2 middle schools. Transportation, we are now in week 2 of the additional buses, and we're closely monitoring the arrival and departure times. Durham School Services will be providing a report to the facility subcommittee in February. And safety and security, additional radios are due to arrive towards May or June at the end of the year, which will be, I believe, the final purchase of radios, which the school committee authorized back in December. Communication repeaters were installed over the holiday break, and programming will occur later this month. And we're going to be interviewing for security officer in an upcoming week. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Notoriani. Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman.
Vice Chair Burke.
Al, the sentence, the additional radios are due to arrive sometime in May or June. How many radios are we talking about? And the fact that we don't have them right now, obviously May or June, the school year is over, but the fact that we don't have them right now, is that a issue?
So, well, I wouldn't consider it an issue,
Okay.
Mr. Burke. Presently, we have 340 radios deployed throughout the district, which is more than we've ever had. And these, if I remind the committee, these are not walkie-talkies you would buy at like an electronics store. Radio Shack's not in business, but yes. So, well, Mr. Perry, you're dating.
Radios from other
Well,
places.
so these are not walkie-talkies that didn't work within the high school campus like that. These are registered through the FCC. They're radios that are very expensive. We received a request of 357. We did an initial purchase of 340. We did additional purchase a few months back of 56. And then most recently, the school committee approved in December another 125. So when we're done, we're going to have a total of 460 radios in the district. And that's we're almost 1-to-1 in terms of our staffing, depending upon what staff they were issuing to. So this should be more than enough. I know there was a discussion in the facility subcommittee about a concern at a couple of the elementary schools where they wanted more of them, and we were able to get some immediately, but these larger orders take a little more time.
All right, thank you. Thank you for the explanation.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chair?
Ms.
Can I follow-
Kabiscus?
Can I follow up with one question on the radios? I'm going to presume these are not going to be a public channel that people can listen to like a scanner, right? No?
Nope. These are registered. They're self-contained within our system. You should not be able to pick them up on any type of public scanner, although they are registered through the FCC. But you bring up an interesting point. We did have a conversation with the principals, make sure that they're following protocols. Prior to the radios we're buying, they had walkie-talkies, and similar to having the walkie-talkies, privacy should be of utmost importance. There should be no student names going over it or anything that would be identifiable back to an individual student. So I'm confident that our principals have had that conversation. I know at this school, at least, I know Ms. Renegallo, I was present for that conversation. So even if that were to occur, there were a way to find out what was going on over the radio, you wouldn't be able to.
Great. That was one of my concerns. My other concern was when there is an incident at a school, my concern is if there was something that parents could listen to. The last thing we need when we're trying to lock down a school because there's some threat is a bunch of parents showing up trying to dismiss their children. And I just don't want that to be the situation. I have no issue with keeping parents informed as to what's going on. But first you have to get the conditions under control. And that's one of my concerns about if somebody could access this radio to find out something that's going on at, let's say, the high school.
I would hope, Ms. Kabiscus, that would not be the case because we contracted directly with Cybercom Communications, which is the prevalent vendor for public safety throughout the state. So I'd like to think that they've done all this. I'll be quite frank with you. I'm going to be making a phone call tomorrow to ensure that we've got privacy in place. But it was registered through the FCC. It wasn't just they're pretty sophisticated. You can use a radio from one side of the city all the way over to North Smithfield into Massachusetts. They're pretty high tech.
So essentially you can't escape us. I get it. Thank you.
There's no escaping Woonsocket, Mrs. Kabiscus.
Anyone else? I'll make a motion to receive and place on file the technology facilities update. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Burke. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Next, we'll go into unfinished business. And this first item was tabled last time, so I'll make a motion to remove from the table the first item, which is a discussion approval on the Woonsocket High Auditorium Architect contract. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leclerc. Roll call, Dr. McGee.
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus.
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
So this item now is before us. I'll turn it over to Dr. McGee and Mr. Perrier. Oh, yeah. We need a motion to discuss and approve the auditorium architect contract. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leclerc. Mr. Perrier, Dr. McGee.
Mr. Chairman, the district is still working through the approval process on this final amendment that RGB did put in front of us with the Department of Education. We still have not had that resolved, so we have nothing to present to you this evening.
So should we table this till the next meeting?
Yeah, we can table it again, and I can provide you an update. This is something that it's a high priority of ours. We're trying to work through it, just taking a little longer than anticipated.
Or is it something we should be taking off the agenda so that and come back later on? Because if this is not going to happen next meeting, we're going to keep tabling and tabling.
Yeah, well, it's kind of out of my hands right now, so
Maybe we should.
yeah, I think it's fine to take it off the agenda, and then when we do have a finalized report and a contract, we can bring it back then. I think that's acceptable.
So I'll make that motion to remove from the agenda, discussion approval on the high school auditorium architect contract. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Leclerc. Dr. McGee, roll call.
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus.
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Number two, this item was also tabled at last meeting, so I'll make a motion to remove from the table a discussion approval on the location of the new elementary school at Barry Field. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Burke. Dr. McGee, roll call.
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus.
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Next, I'll make a motion to discuss and approve the location of the new elementary school at Barry Field. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leclerc. Now, this item was tabled last time because the building committee did not have an opportunity to review this item and to vote on it because it was not on our agenda. Well, reporting tonight, the building committee met before this meeting at 5 o'clock here in Hamlet. And unanimously, the building committee voted to approve the location of the new elementary school at Barry Field. In attendance, in part of the building committee includes members of the school committee, the administration, the mayor, the project manager, members of the community, members of the city council, and unanimously approved it. And what we're looking to do is, if the school committee approves this tonight, we will be planning community meetings. We'll be at least 2 to 3 of them, maybe 3 of them at all the 3 locations where in the 3 communities. This is a very complex project. It began with the Jacobs report back in 2017 that identified certain of our schools that were so far below standard that they should be torn down or not be refurbished. And in conjunction with that, RIDE supported the combination of removing 3 schools and combining them into one big school. And as a result, the district received $100 million with a 94% rebate to that. If we don't do this, and we only decided to rehab our schools, we wouldn't have the funds. And the funds would be just like it was in previous years. We wouldn't have anything to fix schools that the state has deemed that we shouldn't be in those schools. So we have a project manager. We will be getting the engineers and contractors coming up. We're going for RFP soon. But the first step in phase 3 was to identify the location, and this is a great location. And let's remember, the school committees, our forefathers we have been holding this land for 97 years. And it is deemed for athletic fields and educational facilities. If we don't do anything here, especially for the benefit of our children, our current children and our future children, we may be missing the boat, especially when we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do the right thing. So, I recommend that we do this, that we do vote this. So I'll open it up to discussion. Anyone?
Chairman,
Vice Chair Burke.
I concur with everything you say. I mean, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And it would behoove us if we don't follow through on it. So I think your words were well placed and well said. So
okay, thank you.
I agree with you.
Ms. Kepiscus?
Just one question, Mr. Chair, which I think will answer some of the questions that have come up in the community. Can this $100 million be used to rehab those 3 schools?
No.
Thank you.
No, because we would lose it. That was one of the conditions, that we would get the $100 million if we followed through with this program. And RIDE has been with us and has advised us throughout the process through phase 1, through phase 2, and now they're part of phase 3. Any thoughts?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ms. Leclerc?
They say circumstances are everything, and I think the circumstances are now where we've got the ability to have 94% reimbursement rate, that we need to move on this. And I think I'm in positive in agreement with you, and I think we should move forward on this.
Dr. McGee.
I was just going to add, Mr. Chairman, and I'm not sure if you mentioned this in the beginning, but when RIDE came to us and said, you have an opportunity to, receive $100 million or so, they said that while some communities are remodeling individual schools, here they're looking for newer and fewer. And when I say newer and fewer, I mean newer schools and fewer schools in the district. And as you referred to the Jacobs report in 2017, those 3 schools were deemed, irreparable in terms of being remodeled or being rebuilt. They would need to be replaced completely. So, as you've said, this is a, I hope it's not a once in a lifetime opportunity, because I'm hoping that as the years progress, we'll receive more money from the state to do work, throughout the district. But this is an opportunity for students and families at 3 of our elementary schools that were deemed to be just not able to repair. And it was an extensive report, the Jacobs report. So this is a wonderful opportunity for our students, for our community. As I travel the state and I see new schools going up in other districts, I say to myself, why not Woonsocket? And this is our opportunity to provide a state-of-the-art elementary school to our students who right now don't have a state-of-the-art elementary school. Thank you.
One of the things that RIDE mentioned right at the beginning, they made it clear that this money is, we call it once in a lifetime, and I hope to God it isn't. But they also mentioned that the city of Woonsocket is in no position to go out for bond. So it's not like we could go out for money through the city to get monies to repair and refurbish. So when RIDE presented to us this opportunity, we followed through and we began the process. Any other comments or thoughts? Dr. McGee?
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus?
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc?
Yes.
Next, we'll go into new business. And the first item, I'll make a motion to discuss and approve the amendments to the graduation policy. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Burke and Mr. Leclerc. I'll turn it over to you, Ms. Kepiscus and Vice Chair Burke.
Well, I went over basically what we had done at our last policy subcommittee meeting, but I can summarize for you. Essentially, what we did was we added the new graduation requirements in effective 2028, but made it clear at Dr. Holt's clarification that those are not currently the graduation requirements. One of the big discussions was whether or not there's going to be a drop dead date by which you had to have all your credits accumulated in order for you to know whether or not you were going to receive a diploma and or, for some more importantly, cross the stage at graduation. And there are some districts that do have a whole process by which people are notified. There's a drop dead date for when the grades have to be submitted. And our policy simply requires that the credits be completed before graduation, which has been interpreted by the principal or his or her designee as the end of the grading period for seniors for the 4th quarter. At this point, the high school administration does not recommend or propose any additional changes to that. I know it seems rather wishy-washy, but to some degree it has to be a little wishy-washy, because the whole point is if you have a student that's trying to accumulate those credits through whatever means, we don't want to discourage them, because our job is to educate students and get them a high school diploma. So we don't want to make a hard and fast drop dead date that you have to have your credits by this date or you're done. We did make some provision for an August graduation ceremony for students who earn the credits subsequent to the June graduation. They will get their diploma, and there will be a modified graduation ceremony in August for those high school students who complete their credits late. that's all part of this new policy.
I think it's exciting that we have this second graduation exercise because we know some students at this last graduation, parents came over and they came over and said, geez, I wish I could walk across the stage, but I didn't quite finish. This way they'd have an incentive to complete. Now, is that going to be in effect now or does it start next year?
That's effective this year.
This year, okay.
We're just working out the fine details of when and where the August graduation will occur.
And what we're going to do, right.
Exactly.
Right.
We're looking at what other districts are doing. There are other districts that do this.
Okay.
I believe Pawtucket's one. I recall.
Okay. Any other thoughts, questions? Dr. McGee, roll call.
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke.
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus.
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Next, I'll make a motion to discuss approve the amendments to the non-union benefits policy. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Burke and Mr. Leclerc. Ms. Kepiscus? Vice Chair Burke?
Essentially, these changes were really to update the policy, to essentially make it clear that the policies itself is just a policy and not an employment contract, because our attorneys felt it sounded more in the terms of an employment contract. As a result, while references to the respective collective bargaining agreements have been removed, longevity language in section 10 of the policy has been updated to reflect the current circumstances and will be retroactive to July 1, 2023. Appendix A1 remains part of the policy. Appendix A2 will be removed because the only staff member referenced in it has since retired. There was subsequently some discussion as to whether or not there should be a clarification with regard to when longevity pay is paid out. And I spoke to Mr. Perea, and he advised that TAs and teachers, their longevity is split and equally paid throughout the year, whereas union number 1137, their longevity is paid once a year, and it's paid for the prior fiscal year, usually paid in September, but again, for the prior fiscal year. And I had sent an email to our council and asked whether or not that they thought that should be included in the policy. I didn't receive a response, but I suspected they were going to say defer to the collective bargaining agreement because the collective bargaining agreement would control. Am I speaking out of turn?
Yeah, that was my question, Sarah. How does this apply?
The question is, should the policy itself be amended either by this body or go back to policy, which I think it's minutia, just to clarify in writing how the longevity is paid out so that there is no question among union and non-union members.
Right.
So whatever fiscally makes most sense is controlling. There's no need to make it reference to collective bargaining. So I don't think it needs to be put back into the document or put into the document. The fiscal leadership has the ability to do it.
Mr. Perrier, you want to chime in?
I agree.
Well said.
No, we're making the payments currently. There's no delay on anything.
Okay. Anything else?
With
Dr.
that, sorry, did somebody
I'm
say
sorry.
something? I'm assuming with that, I would recommend that we approve the policy.
Dr. McGee?
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke.
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus.
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Next, I'll make a motion to discuss approve to rescind the P6 series non-certified personnel in the school committee policy manual. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Burke. Ms. Kepiscus, Vice Chair Burke, for the third time.
I'm not seconding anything. I have too much to say already.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
In reviewing the policy with legal counsel at our last meeting, it was recommended that we rescind or remove all of these P6, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and 6 and 7 under all the subparts, because essentially this is all covered by collective bargaining agreements or contractual employment agreements. Some of it is patently illegal, as usual. So therefore, as a result, because of it's being superseded by collective bargaining or other employment agreements, and some of it being illegal, we recommend that it be rescinded.
Sarah? Okay. Anyone? Dr. McGee?
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke.
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus.
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Next, I'll make a motion to discuss, approve the Sojourner House survey. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Leclerc. Dr. McGee?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the committee has in their agenda a Woonsocket student response. It's a survey, and incidentally, I made this presentation to the Health and Wellness Subcommittee at their recent subcommittee meeting. And so what this basically is we have a partnership with the Sojourner House. And what that means is that we work with Selena Gibbs, who comes into our schools and works with our students around educating them around teen dating violence awareness. She's been working with the district for a couple of years, and as part of this partnership, they have put together a student survey, which would be a volunteer anonymous survey that would be provided to all students at the high school through their advisory, where they would be asking students to reflect on it or answer questions on campus climate, as well as teen dating violence awareness. The results or the survey itself would then be used. Again, it's anonymous, so we don't know who's filling it out, but it would be used for Sojourner House to continue to provide supports to our youth here in the district. So I am presenting this to the committee, and the questions that they have are here. You can see them. So I'm just looking for your approval so that the Sojourner House can provide this to our students and continue to support them around teen dating violence awareness.
Comments? Questions?
Just one question, Dr. McGee. Do we still use the Lindsay Burke dating violence curriculum? Do you know?
We do, yes.
Then I'm going to abstain.
Anyone else?
Do you, as the superintendent, get the results of that, and are you privy to those?
So I certainly can get the results. Yes, yes, I can. And in fact, I would want to see the results because I naturally I'd be curious to see what the students are experiencing, what they're witnessing, and such, and also so that I have a better sense of, based off of the results, what can we do to better support our students.
When you do that, can you come back with a report for that from us?
Sure.
Doesn't have to be numbers or anything, but just give us your interpretation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the summary
Interpretation of
report.
what you think those numbers are.
I can.
All right. Excellent.
Anyone else? Dr. McGee?
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus,
Abstain.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Next, I'll make a motion to discuss, approve, and increasing the teacher substitute pay for the remainder of the 2023-2024 school year. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leclerc. Turn to you, Dr. McGee, Mr. Perrier.
I'll start, and then if you want to add anything to it. So the committee is well aware that we have had, as do many districts, both in the state and throughout the country, are finding it very difficult to find substitute teachers. We have a pretty large need on a daily basis, and unfortunately, what we have to resort to many times is teachers covering classes, which makes it very challenging to, number one, to provide the instructional services that our students really need. Now, a substitute teacher is obviously not the same as their teacher, but it is still someone who can come in and who can utilize the lesson plans that the teacher has provided for the substitute. But my point is we can't find substitutes. So my proposal to the committee this evening is I'm hopeful that by offering more money to substitutes, it will cause them to say, hey, Woonsocket is paying much more than say Cumberland, and they might be more inclined to sub here in Woonsocket. Woonsocket, the Rhode Island's interesting. We've all, we've all lived in Rhode Island most of our lives, and if you have to travel above, north of Providence, it's another galaxy. So Woonsocket tends to be, that community up north where, you need to pack a lunch. So hopefully by increasing our sub pay to $200 a day, that will provide more of an incentive for substitutes to come here. And so what we're looking to do is do this for the remainder of the school year. The funds would come out of our ESSER funds, our ESSER 3 funds, and we would evaluate at the end of the year whether or not increasing the sub rate to $200 had an impact on having more subs in the district. So that's something that we would do at the end of the year to see if, yes, we're getting more subs and it's working nicely, and we would then look to maintain the rate, or it hasn't really made a difference, and in which case we would then revert back to the current
How much?
rate.
How much do our subs make right now? What do they get?
So
It's a graduated scale. Everybody starts at $100, then to 110, then to 130, then to step after every 45 days worked. So the step is like 2 and change. That's after 135 days. If they sub for 135 days during the year, they'll get that step 1 payment.
So right now we would increase step 1 to 200. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's going to be 200 across the board for the.
About 200.
Yeah.
How would that measure against local other communities?
If you look around the state, a lot of the urban communities are at $200 right now. So, do you have the data there? Oh, go ahead. You can read it off then. Well.
So I had done a survey with other districts close to us. We even checked some of the Massachusetts. So, for example, Bellingham is 110 a day. Blackstone is 90. Burrillville is 100. Central Falls is 200. North Providence is 150. Pawtucket is 125. So those are the idea of the similar communities. So we are hopefully higher than them, which will get them to come to us.
If we had a full complement, what do you see the fiscal impact, Brad?
I estimated it at about $533,000 for the rest of this year. We based it on how many subs that we've used so far this year. We did add some extra fills in with the thought that more people will be subbing because we do run a lot of vacancies every day. So we average about 24 subs a day. I think if we could attract another 2 to 3 subs a day, I think that would really be significant and really help out a lot.
And that's 500,000 for those three?
Well, if we're going to move, what we're going to do is we're going to move, if this committee approves it, we're going to move all the expense for subs to ESSER 3 for the rest of the year. So yeah, that's going to be about $500,000 by doubling the rate for the rest of the year.
So that the existing subs and new subs is what you're hoping?
Correct.
So you're
yeah.
hoping it's going to be about $500,000?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And again, this will give us a little more flexibility in the general fund this year because I'm going to be taking off the other part of the sub expense to the general fund, and we'll charge it off to ESSER 3 for the rest of this year.
And that's if we get them. That's
if we
right.
get them. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's the hope, is that we do pick up some.
Okay.
But again, I think this is a good test to really evaluate if this is indeed the problem with getting subs here. And we can definitely report back to the committee and let them know what we're thinking going into next year.
Mm-hmm. And
Mr.
Vice Chair
Chairman,
Burke.
have potential applicants like turned down a job because they says, oh, you don't pay enough? Have you heard that from applicants? Okay. Sounds good.
Anyone else? Dr. McGee?
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Kepiscus.
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Having no other items on our agenda, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:09 PM. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Vice Chair Burke. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.